Man, you know what's awesome? Fucking video games.
Yeah,
And hopefully this is a better controllers and keyboards than last week, because last week I just rambled for 13 minutes to
about a
get
great
something out.
game though. About a
A
great game.
fucking great game. Yes. But yeah, this is controllers and keyboards. Still
We're
Kyle
here.
Snow. And as you've
Steer
heard,
clear.
I got Ryan Power with me.
I've got it. I've got the pow wow. Hello.
He's got the power. Maximum power. No one man should have all that power. It's just the two of us today because it's 2 p.m. and some people like Shane have day jobs and some people like Chris have school, I think. I don't remember where Chris is. School.
Class, I believe. Yes.
Yeah.
Class.
Poor Chris. Summer school. Not actual summer school. Like he's in school during the summer, but it's not. Yeah. Well, they still had like intersession, I think is what they call it when you have classes during the summer semester.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep. But that's what happens when you're trying to get through things faster.
We're here with a little controllers and a little keyboards.
Yep. I've got my controller right here, and my keyboard is right there.
There you go. You did it all. What have we been playing? Kind of covering some news. There's lots of news actually, but we're not going to get into all of it because we don't usually get into everything. We like to save it. Just kind of look for stuff we want to talk about. But
Yeah.
what did you want to start with, Kyle? Yakuza.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
interested. I mean, I know a bit about this from watching
From
some of
Beast in the
Giant
East.
Bomb series, Beast in the East, where they are playing through it, but I am not even completely caught up on that series. But like seeing the game in action has been amazing. Kyle's been posting gifs of some of the stuff, some of the moments. I gotta say,
It's true. Well, some of those are from the series in general.
There's a lot of combat stuff that it doesn't look like we get to see on Beast in the East because Dan Reichert mashes buttons.
I can confirm. Okay, so real quick though, I'm going to ask you how far into Beast in the East you've gotten because I've almost caught up with them in terms of story, but I could have already. I got caught up in one of the mini games, but I don't want to spoil anything for you that you haven't seen already.
Are you still watching the series on top?
I'm going to, but now that I'm almost caught up, I don't want to spoil any more of the story for me before I get to it myself. Okay. So I'll backlog it. Like I love Beast in the East, and I'm absolutely going to finish it because there's something about Alex and Vinny. I'm actually the more that like I really enjoyed Dan early on in that series, but now that I've been playing the game, I can't fucking stand Dan in that series just because it's like, oh, just
so
I've
watched up to part 8, so I'm on part 9, but they've released part 14. So I'm
yeah, okay. So you're ways back. Okay. So you haven't seen have you seen any of the real estate or the hostess stuff?
No, I don't think so. Maybe briefly.
Okay, so that's it. You may have noticed when you're looking down like those skill trees with the money that pretty soon just fighting guys is not going to cut the mustard for yen because some of those are like 500 million that you need to earn, and it's like, how the fuck would you ever? Because like all together, Dan's probably earned like maybe 200 million yen between both characters. Like it's just not going to happen. They've invested. They have side businesses for each character. Kiryu takes over part of the real estate for that first client that you get in the Seguda building. Not Tachibana himself, but like the other guy who like they asked him to clear out some dudes. Like his first gig with Oda. And you with Majima, you go to a cabaret club, which is different from a cabaret because you still run the Grand as like your Yakuza job, but you also run a club called Club Sunshine that you just happen to go into, which is a little bit more small scale. And both things kind of have like the Japanese trope of we have to go through 5 bosses. There's 5 guys who are trying to buy up all the real estate in Kamurocho, and you have to take all their buildings from them. And there's like
so kind of a bigger, more extensive even side mission.
Yeah, exactly. And with fucking what's his name, Majima, you have to take your club and you have to take business from the other. What do they call them? The 5 stars, and all the clubs are named after like the Sailor Scouts. Like you start out trying to take business from Club Mars, and then there's Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, and the lead one is Moon. It's like, oh, come on. And yeah, they have like side story stuff with that as well, where like there's like a legitimate mini game of you have to make your hostesses better by giving them practice, and you have to sign them up with the clients that they want so that they'll earn more money that way. And specific ones you can also customize them like outfits, which will give them like actual benefits towards like different things. Like you can make them, I think that the categories are, I'm going to try to remember these specifically. It was sexy, beauty, cute, and funny. And like most of them, it's just like they're locked in with whatever you gave them, like, or whatever they come in with. But the ones who are like rated platinum, which you start with 1 and then you get 1 for each club that you take down, you can change their outfits to like they're a little more jack of all trades. You can make them fit whatever you're missing. One of the nice side things about that is I think it's any women that you help in a sub story will show up and work at your club. Like, do you remember the Obitarian?
Yes.
Yep, oh, she works there. She works there.
Ridiculous.
And it's great because you'll go to open the club and they have like this great cutscene where like Majima's like he has like the full on like tux like with the bow tie and everything, and he just like goes to open the door and he's like, "Welcome, sir," and he bows, and then like all of the women are standing there and they do like a little like, "What's your name?" And then they all bow, and it's like these women like dressed in like beautiful dresses or like business suits, and then it's just this woman with this like leopard print like oversized sweater and purple afro, and she's just like there, and you're like, why? Yeah. It's pretty great. But I've been kind of going like really hard with that because that's how you Babs, stop it. Sorry.
Your cat loves the blinds.
Not my cat.
Oh. Your fiance's cat.
Fiance's cat, yes.
I mean, it's your cat.
Yeah.
Your cat now.
Yeah, I'm stuck with her.
But cat, no problem. Anyway.
Well,
Yakuza seems great. Like obviously, it's cool that the side missions get really that level of detail.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because I could do a whole fucking half hour on the 2 mini game, like side missions.
Side missions, yeah. Well, there's lots in the game too, content wise.
Oh yeah. There's absolutely.
Like I said, I'm kind of interested in more of the combat system.
Yep.
I might be something I eventually pick up, but for now, I'm content just seeing.
Yeah, you've got enough of a backlog, and the only thing that you're missing out on with Beast in the East.
Crazy people like us know that most gamers, it would be impossible for most of us to play every title that releases, or every title in general, even going back through and like, oh, there's an old title I never played, I want to play. Like, what do we all decide to play is all based on time, and there's a reason that those type of sites, or even YouTube and playthroughs are also popular, because it's like, hey, sometimes it's easier just to watch someone play. Some games are better to just watch someone else play through.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if the player has like a good personality or whatever. The only thing I'm going to say that you're missing out on content wise, like Beast in the East is fantastic. You don't get a real feel for the combat out of watching Dan, because Dan's a fucking.
Okay, so there was a GIF you sent of like some crazy wrestling move that would look like a reverse cutter or something, or a.
Keep in mind, some of those I just googled. Like those aren't gifs of my playthrough; those are just gifs I found online.
I know that, but I'm just saying.
And some of them are from other games.
Okay, I was saying, is that from this game? Oh, we're getting technical problems.
Are we? Everything's fine on my end.
Oh, you were cool. I didn't hear a word you just said. It was all just cut in and out. So.
Okay, weird. I hope it doesn't show up on the thing since it's recording from my end, but we'll work with it if it is. Everything's good now, though?
Starting to recover, yeah.
Okay, we're good now?
All right, yeah. Anyway, keep going. Sorry. But
Perfect.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious if that one specific move was from this Yakuza.
I'm trying to remember. Is this the GIF you're talking about? I'm just going to send it to you in the thing here. Because I feel like one that wasn't actually me, that was Gorlab who posted that one.
Yes,
but
this.
No, that's from one of the other games. You can tell because if you look closely, Kiryu has like longer, more slicked back hair, which is indicative of the rest of the series.
Yeah, I wasn't looking that deeply at it from that perspective.
And Majima is really easy to tell because he has significantly shorter hair in the rest of the series, and his eye patch has like a snake on it instead of in this one where it's a plain eye patch and he has a ponytail. But yeah, I mean, there are moves that are similar. There's this really great one when you're in Beast stance where if you grab someone, Kiryu will hoist them up over his head, jump in the air, and you get like it from like two different camera angles where he's just in the air with like his like leg stuck out behind him, and it kind of freezes for a second, and he just like crushes their head into the ground as it comes down, which is one of my favorites. It's just fantastic. But yeah, there's a lot of different good heat moves that Dan kind of glosses over because he doesn't know how to fight. I said this during the last one, but the thing with this one is it doesn't have as much animation canceling. So when you're making a combo, you have to be decisive with it ahead of time. If you hit square 3 times and then triangle, even if it's all within the first punch of the first square, you're going to do all 3 punches before you go for the triangle move, which someone like.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not like I'm not completely joking, but it was somewhat just of a jokingly jab to say that he mashes. I
Oh,
think it's
he
just that
does,
he,
but it does.
but it's not, that's not entirely true. I'm sure he doesn't just completely mash. But the thing is that, as you were saying, it's much like modern sports games where it's not just about not having animation canceling. It's about knowing the exact timing on when it is fastest to then hit your next button press. You know what I
Yep,
mean?
absolutely.
And you usually have to wait for the animation. And certain games like the Souls games are a perfect example. Those are really animation heavy or animation priority.
Mhm.
But they sorry, uh, they have an easier window to feel out because of usually it's after you're swinging. Where sometimes with these type of things, it's like there's a certain point after the animation is done where it would be optimal to do something, and it's not always easy to tell where that is, and you just kind of have to be patient and feel it out. And I
Yeah.
think that's not as easy as, that sometimes you can just miss that and think that it just doesn't control great, and that's that sucks.
Yeah, I also mentioned it just more heavily because I don't know if you've gotten to this part yet, but there's a couple episodes in the series where Dan starts like really going hard on like how garbage he thinks the combat is because he's super just button mashing, and Vinny and Alex kind of call him out on it where it's like, no, Dan, like just I think it's fine. It's been working for you the whole series. Like, why is it a problem now? And it's because he's just like retard mashing a square and then like he's getting comboed by something because he has moves that let him like break out of a hold, or he has moves like I know that he has them because like I watched pardon me, I watched him get them out of the move tree, and it's like, oh, if you hit triangle here getting up, you'll do like a leg sweep, and then that breaks their thing. And it's even fair where if you input a bunch of commands ahead of time for like a combo chain and you need to block, you can interrupt your combo chain with block. That will actually let you interrupt.
Okay, so there are interrupts, yeah.
Yeah, just but like fair ones, right? It's assuming that if you're making a combo, you're not going to interrupt attacks with different attacks. It's going to chain them onto your combo because that they assume that's what you want to do because that's that's indicative of the game style. But no, the combat's good, and yeah, the heat moves are varied enough with especially with different like items that you find laying around because you can have the weapons that you equip on your own, but there's also like, oh, there's a trash can out here, I'm going to stick this over someone's head, or like a beer thing. And then certain ones will have their own individual ones. Like you can find a pilot light oven, like a grill that's on, and yep, you can probably guess you stick it in someone's face and that goes. Or a tea kettle where you'll crack them in the face a couple times and then they fall over, and then you just pour hot boiling water in their face.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's super good. Yeah, the crushing people's head in a car. I told you about that one with the mandarin orange.
Yes, you did.
Oh, it's so and they just spits out the orange juice. It's fantastic. They're like, all right, like
silly.
It's silly, and you have to specifically buy a mandarin orange ahead of time. But
yeah,
it's
a silly game. It's super silly.
It's Japan. Yeah, it's a very good mixture of silly to serious because it does a really good job with setting the tone of what it's supposed to be in that moment. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
I just hope they keep this is a new one, but it's a prequel, Yakuza 0, or is that what it is?
They're releasing 6 in Japan pretty soon because there's a decent time lag between them. 0 came out in Japan in 2015.
Okay, yeah, but I wasn't talking about hoping they release new ones. That's great that they are. That's cool.
Oh, that's what I thought you were saying. I'm sorry.
Hoping they re-release. I know that a lot of people said the original one after 0 got remastered. I kind of wish they remaster all of them because the platforms to play those older ones on aren't even all current. So
no, it's true. PS2, I think, was where they started.
Trying to play through the series, especially now that they seem to have perfected the formula so well with 0. Like they could just take that template and remaster all those games with a similar setting and with a similar control scheme and kind of maybe upgrade combat and like kind of keep that stuff all in line, if you will, and just go from there.
Yeah, that's something where like I'm actually invested in this story now. Like I want to see where these things go, right? Especially with some of the weird gifs I've seen that I've been posting of Majima with like where he has like a snakeskin jacket and like fingerless gloves and the weird haircut and it's like you saw the one where I posted where he's like dressed as a cop and then he's dressed as a woman like within 3 seconds of each other, and it's like I don't know how this happens, but I want to.
Indeed,
that's a weird character.
Majima's interesting. It's a good game.
Yeah,
I
haven't
like I said, played it, but it seems like
it's a real good game. I've been going like way too hard in like Hostess Simulator 2017 as I've been calling it because you get so much yen like per session. I've gotten to the point now where I'm raking in like close to 20 million yen per session, and like the first club I took down, they gave me 300 million as a bonus. The last one was a billion, and I was like, okay, well,
You never.
yes, you will. I spent it all on because you know how like some of the skill up wheel is locked, like when you get out further into the abilities, like it has like a round circle. That's how you unlock it. Is by beating the clubs. I'm assuming it's the same with Curio. I haven't gone nearly as far into the business one because it's mostly just like there's not as much of an active element to it. It's like, okay, well, I go and start doing a payout, and now I wait until the payout's over, and then I go collect. And it's like, okay, that's kind of less interesting. And if I'm across town, I'm not as likely to run right back, kind of thing, because it's far. I want to do things in between.
That's fair. Okay.
Yep.
Yakuza,
yes.
People should play it. People should check into it. It's cool.
It's real good. Strongly recommend.
So I've been catching up a little on the new PS Plus releases, a couple of them anyway. One of them is, which I haven't checked out, but I should. A lot of people talk about it. I'm pretty sure Tales from the Borderlands, right? They put that up on PS Plus this month, I think.
Believe so.
Which I have not checked out. But what I did check out for PS4 yesterday, I played about 20 minutes of it, maybe 15. I only dabbled in it briefly. Abzu. It's same art designers as Journey, I believe, or someone from Journey. Someone from the Journey Flower team. Some.
Yeah, that's like the endless walking game. That's really pretty to look at. Am I thinking the right one?
Journey's not endless walking though.
Isn't that what the core mechanic is? Just walking, seeing things, and having a good time, or am I thinking of something else?
I mean, that is a mechanic. That's how you navigate the world. But there are other things in Journey that you do. But
okay,
to say endless walking implies that it's just a space where you do nothing in. When that's not. There's a thing you do for 5 hours and then it ends. Then you've done the game.
Okay.
There's no endlessness to it. In fact, these experiences are generally really short in nature. Like Flower was the same thing. It was like those things are usually only anywhere depending on how long it takes you to explore and get through some of the challenges, like 4 to 8 hours. Like they are not long.
Okay.
8 would be generous. This seems like that underwater. There was things to interact with and things to do. The thing I liked most about Journey was like the endless desert felt really cool because it was like the vista was an endless desert, but you were going places. The multiplayer aspect of Journey was really cool, where other players would just drop in, but there would be no username, so you wouldn't know if you'd be like using emotes in the game to try to like wave over and over again, to be like that. Communicate with me so I know if you're a person or not. And then they would respond and do something that clearly it's not to indicate that they're a person. You're like, oh, this is cool. But like Journey had, as you built up your scarf, you eventually got more speed. This hasn't, and again, I've only put like 20 minutes into this. So specifically, I went underwater, swimmed for a bit, grabbed on a overly large fish and swam with him for a bit, then found a robot and destroyed a reef and swam to there. But I hope that there's more in terms of making you go faster, because you go so slow, and it's just so the way you move is weird. So the left stick kind of moves your whole body in a 3-dimensional space, and then you use the right stick, which is like camera, to determine whether you're looking up or down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you basically are moving all the time, and it's real easy to just start going like this. Oh, now I'm swimming up. Now I'm swimming out. It's like I'm trying to just get yourself swimming in one direction takes time, and then when you do start swimming in one direction, and I mean it makes sense. You're probably going to be slower underwater. You swim at about a speed that a person could, but it just feels so slow with how big the ocean is,
yeah,
and the space is, because you're just like, you see something that's not that far away, but you're like, this is going to take me a while to get there. Like,
yeah, that's indicative of actual swimming.
And a part of me was just like, it'd be nice if you just gave me something I could hang on to, like when I saw the robot, a part of me was like sitting there going, okay, now I'm going to grab that and it's going to use like boosters or something, right? And I'm going to get to go a little bit freaking faster, because you need to go faster if I'm going to be exploring this space. It's taking a little long to get around, and
should have taken something from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, Ryan. Gotta go fast.
Yeah. The space is cool though, and I'll probably check more of it out just to see if it does upgrade. And even if it doesn't, I mean, it's probably only 4 or 5 hours. So, yeah, it's free and it's interesting. I also took a look at Laser Disco Defenders, just free for PS Plus right now on the Vita. Weird game. It's pretty cool. I don't mind it. I played a little more of that. I played about 4 or 5 hours of that. It's, you know, I'm not going to say it's a roguelike because that's not really accurate. It doesn't really have as many roguelike elements as, something like even Binding of Isaac. But Binding of Isaac's a good reference. This is a dual joystick shooter to a degree. You use your left stick to move your character around. Your right stick aims your aimer,
Hmm.
and then you hit L or R because it's on the Vita. There's only one button on each top to fire. Um, and it's got your procedurally generated levels, right? Like everything of this ilk does have. The aesthetics weird. It's like you're in space and there's a story. You're a bunch of disco dudes in space doing disco things, and the all the guys, all the characters, like there's like 4 or 5 different characters. All the differences between the characters is the starting character has more health, and the other characters have less health but more speed, so they move faster. So that's your trade-off. Um, and you have unlockable outfits, which give you, the one thing I unlocked was your laser is a little bit shorter, like in terms of the actual how big it is on screen. And the reason that is relevant because even though this doesn't actually initially seem like it's a bullet hell, there's not that many enemy types. You kind of just go in room to room, kill things, and then walk into where a disco ball is, and then it takes you to the next level once you've killed. And most of the enemies are like turrets, mounted turrets on the wall. Sometimes you have these little tribesmen. But what makes the game challenging is you can't miss, as in you can, but there will be consequences. None of the lasers that you shoot or enemies shoot ever leave the screen. They are bouncing eternally. So, and I've done this just for fun. Dump
Will
into
they
a room, just dump.
end if they hit a target? Like, does the laser end
Yeah,
then, or no?
no, no, they go forever.
Even if they strike like
Yeah,
the target you were aiming at?
they go
Interesting.
forever. So you could just light a room up, and then it's a nightmare because there's just lasers bouncing every other which way, and you're like, okay. And then the music's all disco-y. But if you're good at, and or if your character's fast enough and you actually can dodge, there is this element of I dumped a room up because there was just too many enemies for me to like too many. I'd have to move in there and try to dodge everything, and it would just be hard. So I'm just gonna light it up and see how many of them I kill in advance, right? And then trying to like quickly move and dodge around everything to get to the exit. You're like, that's kind of neat. Like that's kind of fun.
Sounds
One thing,
sounds like it's similar to another game you've talked about once or twice before.
yeah,
Maybe only once or twice though.
I mean, not
10 Second
really,
Ninja.
because 10 Second Ninja X is way different than this from a perspective. This is top down, like Binding of Isaac,
Hmm.
like most dual joystick shooters, whereas 10 Second Ninja is a side scroller. So,
Hmm.
um, I
But
mean,
I
the
meant in
screen is
terms of
small, but
execution
yeah,
based
sort of. This
challenges.
is kind of more floaty. The controls are a little more floaty. Like the way this works is how you build up speed is by going a direction without turning at a given time. And when it's like you're on air boots in this, it's almost like the kind of or hover
Oh,
boots.
like
It's
ice physics.
like you're like and you're like they do that to intentionally mimic the movement of dancing, by the way, because your character loaded to the nines with bell bottoms and disco glasses and stuff is just
Sure.
like sliding around. You're like, okay, I don't. There is
So he
something
looks a
there.
little bit like Quadri
It's
Philippe
not.
then, Ryan.
Yeah, no, they don't have those glasses.
Okay.
I don't mind it. It's okay. I'll probably play some more of it. It's not, it's not. I'm the dual joystick shooters in general never scratch that itch. Even Binding of Isaac, which I considered a fantastic game, I never put the time that I put into Spelunky into that. Like there were things like it wasn't a game that I was like I'm gonna get all the trophies for, even though I really liked it. And I did a lot of stuff in Binding of Isaac. I did beat Mom, and then I went to and did the Hell Run and all that other whatever they call it at the basement. I don't remember. There's a tier after you beat Mom that you go deeper, but
I
I
don't know. I
didn't.
actually never played Binding of Isaac. It was just one of those
I
games
didn't
that
keep
sounds good that
I
I
didn't
missed.
keep I didn't keep up with that. But the one thing about Laserdisc Defenders, like it's not really deep right now. Like yeah, you do have the costume options, but there's an endless mode. There's your story, um, and there's no items. I've really found like there's health drops when you kill enough enemies, and that seems to happen randomly. I haven't found any consistency to it, and that's about it. And you got your different characters and then different outfits, different jacket, pants, and shoes each that come with different. One of them is your laser's bigger. One of them is speed boost type stuff. Like it seems very basic, despite having a story. But it doesn't seem like there's the even the extra modes. It doesn't seem like other than the endless mode, which is the other side mode on the main screen, doesn't seem like there's as much there. So maybe I'll dig into it and find more. Maybe I won't find more, but we'll see. I'll probably play more of it. It's neat. I'd recommend people check it out just for it's something to do. It's a
Yeah,
good
you said it
time.
was free, right, in PS Plus?
I mean, yeah, it's free right now on PS
The
Plus.
price is right then.
Yeah, I mean, if you own the Vita, I'd still say get 10-second Ninja X. It was free last month. You should have had it. That's amazing. But I was just gonna dabble back on that for a little bit here and just say that I have played more of it. I finally have X ranked that first marathon, and
Oh,
now
that was like your like big jam that you were having trouble with. Where you that was the
well,
mode
yeah,
where
but
you
I got to
had
do it
to.
for I got to do it for sure, but I got to do it for every world.
Yeah, but I just want to make
So
sure I remember that was the one where you have to do all of them 3 stars in a row without fucking up, or you have to go all the way back to World 1, right?
yeah, that's the marathon.
Yeah.
It's not okay. So, but not all of the whole game.
No,
Just 10
per
levels.
yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant.
So 10 levels in. So the worlds are broken up into these little TV sets. So it's 10 levels in each TV set in the main
Yeah,
part of the
I meant
game, which
levels when I said worlds.
yeah,
I knew what you were
of
saying. I
which
just misspoke.
of which there are 6 TV sets total. So I finally did because I've 3-starred all of them, all of the actual non-marathon versions of those levels. Because when you have an unlimited retries plus unlock tokens, it's not that hard to figure out the solution. But right, executing that, which is the marathon mode, without any screw ups is really tough. So it took me a while, but I finally did X rank it. And on top of not only X ranking it, I'm proud to say that I'm 32 on the leaderboards in that marathon of thousands. Yeah, I'm
Good
not
job,
going to be
Ryan.
on the leaderboards of any of the other ones because it's going to take me forever to X rank those. Um, yeah, but
Like you're
there's
the
no way
32nd person to do it, or you're the 32nd best, or how is that
time
determined?
32nd best time.
Okay.
So if you don't get an X rank unless you have no screw up, so your time's going to be the best in that instance. My
Yeah.
time was like 38 seconds or something. The person who has first is like 34 seconds, and I'm like, I 4 seconds shaved in 10 level. I don't know, maybe. Like I like I've
Someone
been
did
trying.
it.
I tried leaderboard climbing, even just a little bit of like some of those original levels, right? And it's like seeing where those people are and seeing myself executed. I'm like, that those are kids that can move their fingers faster. That's because that's really the only difference at that tier. I think is it's like because it's all about making them because if you know what you're doing in a level, right? You're going to quickly do it. Then it becomes like there's only so many. I guess what I'm saying is there's only so many actual tricks to doing it faster, like making sure you jump just to the ledge of the next jump, so you literally waste no extra time moving the extra pixel, right? Because even that matters. But
Oh,
even
absolutely.
but once you start doing that, it's all about how quickly you hit the buttons then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a delay where if you make sure you hit the button, if you hit it just before you land, it'll basically jump you the moment you land, right? There is that
Yeah,
level
your
of fidelity to
animation
it, but
canceling.
at a certain point, for me, like seeing some of those higher scores, like I'm just like that. I'm not going to be able to ever move my fingers this fast. Like
Yeah.
that's
I think we
literally
can
just
agree
people
that
who can move
30
faster than
seconds
I can.
not bad though, Ryan. It's too bad that you weren't 22nd because I know you do have an affinity for that number, but
What 20?
32, 22?
Yeah, but it wasn't 20 seconds.
No, 22nd.
Oh,
As in
I see.
22. Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. I might update more of that as I trophy hunt, but that game's great. I gave it 5 stars. I reviewed it and everything.
You
It's
did.
fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's pretty much all I've been playing for the most part. Oh, right. Sorry. I wanted to talk about Star Trek timelines.
Yes, you did.
Yes, my boy. Okay. So I am a big fan of Star Trek. I became one only recently, last few years, because I caught
Yeah.
up on watching pretty much all
As
of it,
opposed
although
to
I have not watched the original. All of the originals. We're on season 2. We just restarted it.
yeah, because you stopped to watch
Restarted.
all the new stuff, right? Halt and Catch Fire and Silicon Valley and all that.
Yeah, well, we were watching other stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
But well, Mystery Science Theater too. But
Yeah.
the mobile game Star Trek Timelines recently had, and I mentioned this on the previous controllers and keyboards. It recently had. It was about to undergo a big update. Now the said update has come out. Great update. It's a fantastic update. The feedback's been great to it as well from the community. Essentially, it's one of those mobile games that just it felt really disorganized, especially in comparison to other stuff I was playing. Like I mentioned, Star Wars Galaxy Heroes is a perfect example. But like, what the reward tiers were, what the payments were, how you navigate things with menus. Like there was just so many things that Timelines kind of struggled with, and there's still stuff it struggles with. Like so, it's your typical game where you're grinding out characters, and then by grinding, I mean you doing whatever you do in the game, right? And in this case, you do a combination of away missions or space battles, right? and
Yep.
you collect space tokens for ships that are the equivalent of the different ships in the series that have different stats, and you upgrade them. And then the same thing goes for characters, and those characters have one of a few abilities. There's engineering, there's diplomacy, there's a like an attack or whatever. It's a laser bolt. I don't remember what they call that one.
The
There's
tachyon beam.
science. No, it's like a phaser pistol, but there's a name. There's an aggressive. It might just be attack. I don't know, but there's like a name for it, right?
Jeez, I'm trying to remember.
It's not. No, it's not a Star Trek name. It's an in-game name to like
Oh, I'm
engineering,
sorry.
science. Like they're
Okay.
different. They're different stats.
Okay, sorry.
And
I
each
was thinking you were talking
character
about something from the
has
series,
different
and I was
stats.
trying to remember.
Each character have these different stats based on what they were better at, right? I'm a better leader. That's one of them. Leadership or whatever. It's the most important.
I was just about to go there. I don't know, man. Penalty shot.
Anyway, when you're upgrading those characters, there's two types of upgrades. Or I guess I should say there's three. There's their level. There's their star number, depending on if that character has multiple stars. So you can go up to 5, which is like the legendary stars. And then there is the gear. And in order to completely level them up, you obviously got to do a combination of everything to keep going, right? So you can go between levels 1 and 10, and then you can't go past level 10 until you've upgraded all the gear at that tier, and then that just duplicates all the way up to 100. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the equipment, and this is still as it stands, the equipment, when you upgrade it, you can build various, the stuff that you grind and earn in missions, just multiple different types of equipment types, RPG type systems. They're pretty deep. One of the things that sucks, and it's still like this, is if I have all the components to build it, I can't just hit the build button, because let's say it goes 7 components deep. I can build this, but I build it by building something else inside of it. So I'd have to click on it and then click on it again. You have to go into deeper and deeper and build it, even if you have all the ingredients to just build the overall big thing.
Yeah.
And that's something that sucks. That doesn't exist in Galaxy Heroes. If it goes deeper when you're building, you can just hit build once and it'll recognize that you have all the components.
Yeah. It'll take care of the combining for you.
Things that they did fix with this UI stuff. Really easy now to navigate between specifically faction missions, and those are all the different factions. Like, there's the Klingons, et cetera, et cetera. Each of them also have their own little stores where you can buy things based on how much reputation you have grinded with them, which is a neat system, and I don't mind it. But in the old update, it took forever to get between stores to try to look at things that it just basically became, if I have the time, I guess I will, but whatever. Now it's a lot easier to navigate through that stuff. The big change that everyone's on board with, and this is something that was a must for me, it was really hard to get character tokens or characters in this game. Like, you would be able to do blind boxes or whatever, like typical to your games. There is an in currency that you earn, and you can spend your credits on these boxes. And otherwise, there was occasionally your events that rewarded characters based on how well you did. But like, if you were discarding characters, right, all it would do would be turning into a currency that was irrelevant. It would basically just turn into like experience to upload or to upgrade your other characters, like whatever the XP item is. Now they've changed it so that they have this new thing called an honor hall, where in the honor hall store, it's its own currency that you can actually use to buy characters, or alternatively buy a token that levels up a character. So buy a star. So let's say you have a purple, which is a 4-tier star character, right? And you currently have them at 2 stars. Instead of having to try to luckily find another version of that exact same 4-star character just at 1 star, then you could upgrade it to 3 stars, right? Obviously, to make sense, that you could just buy this token that works for any 4-star character and gives them a star up, right? Like, and how you get this currency is whenever you dismiss any crew at all, regardless of who they are, they give you some of this currency. So it's a big change for allowing people to actually get characters instead of just hope at random that they get characters that
you can just dump all the like jank characters that you get that you don't care about into currency, and you can do it that way.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That's much better.
It's a much better way to do that system.
Off the table, Babs. Sorry, Ryan. She's up on the table. Okay. There's breakables. Didn't mean to interrupt. Fucking cats,
No, yeah, I know.
Dogs are way better.
It's a much better way to do that system.
Yeah, that just sounds better. I know it's. Sorry, we're talking over each other. My apologies. I'm saying it sounds like it takes what's right we haven't talked about this recently, but since we both are gonna be getting back into that, and that will be a side feature. Hearthstone did a really really good job with how they use like the gold system in terms of
like
the arena runs.
exactly.
It sounds like it takes the right things out of that.
Like, and there was a lot of other good things in Star Trek Timelines, honestly, that I liked. It has probably the most unique version of actually engaging with the game in terms of either the away team missions or the space battles, because the away team missions, instead of just saying bring your best characters, that's all you ever need to do, right? Because in most cases with these type of games, your best characters have the best stats. Well,
Yep.
because the characters have specific stats in this, sometimes you'll get a mission that's just it's an engineering based mission, so you're going to need to bring three people who have those type of stats, right? So some characters, even though they might be your best, they're not applicable, they're not going to help you at
Yeah.
all, right?
Yeah.
And they put narrative around all this stuff, which is obviously Star Trekky, but at a certain point you just kind of go through it. And
no,
then
absolutely.
space battles are you literally have different stations on cooldown timers, MMO style or MOBA style, and you're just activating those abilities that increase your damage, give you more shields, increase your speed of attack, that type of stuff. And then the ships kind of engage in battle on screen. It's they're not they may not be the most thought out. It's still mobile stuff, but it's neat. It's neat enough. But yeah, no, I think the update overall has been pretty good. There's still stuff they need to get to. Like I said, that build thing it's been bugging me for a long time, and it's something they really need to fix, in my opinion.
No, I don't disagree.
If you
That's
have the components to build something, you shouldn't have to go into especially if they're going to make it so that you have 1,700 million different things that you can grind. Like if I were to go into my inventory in any one of these mobile games, it's loaded with just millions of different upgrade materials and parts, because it's not even just because let's say you upgrade, let's say the item you're trying to equip is like as an example, Riker uses a chessboard, right? That's one of his items. So it's not enough for me to just grind out the chessboard, because I could go into the chessboard and find 7 other different things I have to go into and grind, and then go into each one of those, and then you have things you grind, right? So it's like, yeah, sure, for a lot of these I might have thousands of them because you played the game long enough that you just earn so much of these smaller tier
it
rewards,
just
right?
lies around.
But if I have all the components to build all of that into another thing, and then into another thing, and then into the chessboard, and it tells me I can build the chessboard, like it'll say 0 of 1 in orange, and then it says you can build this, but it won't let me build it unless I go into each individual tier and
It's just a whole bunch of busy work.
And you're just like, this is silly. If you're going to add this much for me to grind out, then just let me hit the build button once. Like, I'm not a big fan of how, and this isn't just this mobile game, and this is not even just mobile games. This has started to happen across most RPG games as well. Like, it's one thing to have a nice deep system with lots of options, but at a certain point you got to start looking at why not every RPG system needs to be that layered, right? Like it doesn't always need that level of complexity, not with every element. And how much of that is, like as you said, how much of that is just there to put busy work into the game. And from a mobile perspective, that happens a lot because they're not very combat or gameplay heavy otherwise. But even the fact that this is starting to permeate more into actual games, it's kind of weird. And I kind of wish the people developing, like it feels like it reminds me of, have you ever played a bad board game, like a board game that's just maybe good ideas, but like the whole package just seems like at a certain point while developing this, they never sat down and played it and thought, is this fun?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like,
absolutely had that experience before. And you're like,
it's always important to stay rooted in that perspective of building something that you'd also want to play, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with you.
All right.
I think that we've come to the conclusion after all the discussion that there should be a ban on human cloning.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I actually did pose that to my mom and her boyfriend the other day. Yesterday, actually. Yep. They agreed, but for dumb reasons. Mom was just like, "Why the fuck would anyone want to do that?" And I'm like, "Well, I can totally understand why people would want to do that, but
I wouldn't want to clone myself. Just
not themselves, but just make clones in general. Like, yeah, that's cool, but yeah, all the reasons that Shane and I said not to, that you guys will get to see in like 3 days.
Of cloning, but not really. We'll wrap up here, but we got a little bit of news to cover. We'll cover one news story at least.
Yeah,
it's coming, Kyle.
What's coming, Ryan?
They're making another Darksiders game.
Oh my god! Yeah. I've never played any of the Darksiders games, so you're you're the resident expert.
Yeah, I've played one, and I beat one and loved one, and wanted to play two, which they made it a little more Diablo-like to my knowledge, and a little less Zelda-like. But the it's not that necessarily that they're that. What's crazy about this is that they're making another Darksiders. So for those who don't know, since Kyle is not reacting, I'm assuming he doesn't.
I don't.
Darksiders was a franchise created by THQ.
That which is now a dead company. That's
THQ is a publisher, but Vigil's the one who created it, but they were working under THQ.
THQ did go under though, didn't they? Or am I mistaken?
They did years ago. THQ went under. There was lots of dead franchises that some of them got saved, some of them didn't. There was a big sale, and someone bought the rights to Darksiders, but nobody really thought that they would ever make another. Not like the games. The game sold, I believe, okay. Like they did all right. It's just, they were it was a cool idea, and it's something that I know Jeff was talking about this on the original Darksiders remastered quick look, but and I've heard this opinion elsewhere too. Nobody's really ever done it other than this, of an adult Zelda. This idea of like, we're going to do a grittier or a completely different art style with our own little thing, but it's going to be a game in that ilk. Like everyone's kind of just let Nintendo build that style of game and be the only one who gets to build that style of game. Like by that I mean like your typical bosses layered with dungeons with your weapons and your very not just like everyone's gone the other direction, if you know what I mean. Like you're talking about playing Horizon, like you craft and upgrade gear and hunt. You do very much Minecraft survival. Like everyone's gone in that direction. That everyone stopped going in the and by stopped I mean never really went in the Zelda direction, right? Even throughout the course of like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, there weren't a lot of Zelda likes out there. There just wasn't.
No, you're not wrong.
And it's a weird feeling because you're just like, if you're not I don't know if you played the original. You said you hadn't played the original Darksiders. Sorry.
No, I've never played any of the Darksiders games.
So the original Darksiders, I believe the art is from a notable artist.
Yeah, all I know about them is that like you play as like the four horsemen of the apocalypse. The first one I think is war, and the second one's death. And that war is built like a shithouse, and death's a little bit more skinny and stealthy.
Joe Madaruda is the guy who did it, and he's known for his work on the Uncanny X-Men franchise. But he was the creative director of this story. I thought the art was, anyway, maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought the art was like some notable person. Anyway, if you look at the art in Darksiders 1 or 2, they're very bulky. They're very World of Warcraft almost, but it's like very, or Spawn even. Like there's lots of, there is that, that Gears of War is another example, like very, very, what's the word I'm looking for here, Kyle?
Space Marines in brown space.
Yeah, but like I feel like they're not agile, not that type of, like very overpowered, like very old school fantasy, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting. But one of the things that is weird is that, Darksiders 1 and 2 came out, and like everyone, I thought they were pretty well received, honestly, for the most part. But when THQ went under and, the IP was bought by THQ Nordic of all studios, which, I don't understand.
Kind of a weird one. Why Nordic? But
yeah, Nordic does good stuff too. Like Nordic did develop Darksiders 2, the definitive edition. They remastered it, and they also developed the Darksiders Remorse, the War Mastered, which is the original and remaster it. But like the type of, I don't know, it's a weird thing.
It is
like
a weird
I'm
thing.
trying to look here. What was their last developed game that I can recall like really getting into? Like they distributed Ori and Blind Forest and Quantum Break, but they didn't develop. Like they haven't developed like a game in quite some time that I had an affinity for. Like they've more distributed and acquired a lot of properties, but apparently it is THQ Nordic who is developing. Oh no, sorry. There we go. It's Gunfire Games that's developing Darksiders 3. Nordic is publishing it.
Okay, so
yeah, that's right.
Sticking more with what they've been doing lately. I've never heard of Gunfire Games though.
Nordic took over the THQ name. They just put that in their name. Yeah. Interesting.
Mhm.
Anyway, I never thought Darksiders 3 would exist. That's all. It's crazy.
No, I didn't realize. Like I wasn't.
It's also crazy that it's going to be released on Unreal. So that's also kind of interesting. The Unreal Engine. Less and less it seems to be released on that nowadays. Everything's also released on Unity pretty much. So in this one, apparently you're going to be taking the control of Fury. Fury is a mage who is described as the most unpredictable and enigmatic of the four horsemen and relies on whips and magic in combat.
Wait, I thought that the four horsemen traditionally were war, death, famine, and pestilence. Is Fury replacing one of those because they thought it was boring?
I think they're going for their own thing.
Okay, just
like it's less. You're thinking of
like the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
These are also the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Okay,
but I think it's a different.
Okay, just I assumed because they kept war and death that the other two were
but
the same.
In which there's other uses of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Like there's like most mythology, which one are you thinking of? Like
I don't know. I didn't know there was more, except for X-Men did it with like the actual guy named Apocalypse had four horsemen. But
yes.
Other than that, I thought it was like there was just like the one thing of war, death, famine, and pestilence. I don't know where the source comes from. It might be biblical actually, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, when I Google in the four horsemen of the apocalypse, nobody is named Fury.
Yeah, that's. I guess that just like famine and pestilence are kind of lame names for a character, and also kind of boring, right? Like, oh, you starve or you just stink.
This is really biblical. That's what they were leading into. Like in the actual Darksiders, there are angels and demons and.
Yeah, aren't they considered Nephilim?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, the plot of Darksiders 3 says it takes place parallel to the events of the previous games and what is described as a dilapidated, war-torn planet Earth. It follows the protagonist Fury, rider of the Black Horse, sister horseman of the apocalypse, in her quest to destroy the 7 deadly sins.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the 7 deadly sins will actually be characters.
Maybe.
That
could be your boss.
Your boss fight with gluttony.
Yeah.
I can get down with that.
So the development team of Gunfire consists largely of former Vigil Game employees, whose previous work includes development of the first 2 Darksiders games. Okay,
so they've brought
more excited.
Yeah, it's the same people.
Yeah, THQ Nordic basically was just like, we're going to try to keep THQ things alive, which is, I mean, good on them.
Yeah.
He made some things I like.
Yeah,
like
well, the thing that killed THQ, we all know, was that they couldn't find a good logo.
Like Red Faction, guys. Did we forget Red Faction?
I think everyone forgot Red Faction, Ryan.
Oh, did you ever play the original Red Faction?
Red
Faction Armageddon.
Or wasn't it Gorilla? I thought it was called like Gorilla, not Gorilla.
Is that? Yeah, you're right, Gorilla. That's the one where you could destroy everything.
Yeah, which was a cool mechanic.
Good. Yeah, and that people forget that's Volition that developed that.
Mm-hmm. That they do.
AKA the Saints Row people.
Which is a series I know that you have a big affinity for, Ryan. I enjoyed it as well, but you were one of the people who liked it better after it got crazy too.
It sucked before it was crazy. I didn't like it before it was crazy.
It was okay before it was crazy. It was just
you're talking to the person who hates Grand Theft Auto.
I was gonna say okay, that's right. I was like, it was just a little more Grand Theft Auto.
Why would I like GTA Lite? That's what made Saints Row cool, is that it was GTA. It was what I wanted GTA to be.
Yeah.
Not serious, just be stupid. Nobody I think it all depends on the environment when you first see those and see people play those games. For me, no one ever played the story of Grand Theft Auto or in my social circles. You booted it up to run it to mess around in a sandbox. Mm-hmm. So when Saints Row 3 came out and it was just like, hey, that's what our missions are. I'm like, well, then I love this.
Yeah, that's true. There is something fun with hanging out with Mayor Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, there's something fun where a mission is you drive in a car and cheetah is next to you, and every time you make bad turns, the cheetah slashes at you. Yep. Okay, this is dumb. I like this.
Yep. And didn't you say there was also a you could unlock a voice for the protagonist that was just like he was a zombie, so all of his lines were replaced from his regular lines with like brains, and then everyone still talked to him like he was making sense.
Yes. Yep.
That's I'm on board.
Anyway,
I also really enjoyed this third Saints Row game. I never got to play the fourth.
Darksiders Darksiders. It's cool. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to say I still think it's crazy that there hasn't been another attempt at. I don't want to say mature because I think that there are mature elements to the Zelda games, but a different aesthetic with different ideas, like version of like taking some of these traditional Zelda staples and trying to do more with them. Like, and then
Mhm.
it's something that obviously Nintendo I don't even think has done to a certain degree either. Like,
No,
you know,
absolutely.
everyone talks about their formula and how, you know, the new Zelda Breath of the Wild and you played it, how it's so much different than their formula, but
Yeah,
it's
aesthetically,
really
it's still
just
very
more,
similar.
yeah, and not even just aesthetically, but from a gameplay perspective, it's different, but it doesn't really take some of their principles to new levels or anything like that. They're just exploring different spaces, right? If
Yep.
anything, it's more like Horizon, it's more like Red Dead, it's more like every other game that's just like now you have crafting, now you have it's like you're not doing things that aren't been done. You're basically just saying, well, these are conventions. And I kind of wish they went the other direction and went, we have our own conventions, but we need to justify what they mean in today's version, right? Like I liked having items that were named and specific to you, and they had special abilities and they worked on special enemies and like things like that. Like I liked the fact that you had a crossbow and you had, you know, or sorry, not a crossbow,
Yes.
a hook
Hook shot.
shot, and
Yeah,
like
that's a
all the named items and weapons. It's just that they just became so formulaic with how they do that stuff. It's like you could probably find a way to keep those things and keep those systems, but make them relevant again in 2017, right? Like for me
Mhm.
personally, I wish it would just be the opposite. I wish if you want to add crafting stuff, then give me like five named relevant items or inventory things, like a hook shot as an example, and then just let me use everything. Like let me take anything that I collect in the game. So let's assume it's food or meat or whatever, upgrade parts, let's say, right? Let me just put them to my name. Any name thing I want, they just upgrade, and then you just make it better and better and better until it gets new mechanics.
Okay.
I think that would be cooler.
Indeed. Do you have any other news that you want to cover, Ryan?
That they made a Darksiders sequel. That's
Besides
crazy.
that one.
No, I think that might cover it. There's probably been some news otherwise. I know that there's a new Prey out, which is crazy. That's also a game that I still can't
Yeah,
believe they made
what, from
another
like
one.
12 years ago.
Yeah, it's a reboot though.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, yeah.
yeah, but we'll probably have more to talk about next week. We'll see. I'll have played Uncharted 4 then. I just downloaded it the other day.
Yep.
The other day, I mean, finished downloading it last night. So I will be digging into it even as soon as today, probably. So,
All
and
right.
I'm
Fair
looking
enough.
forward to that. I'm a big Uncharted fan, big Naughty Dog fan, but I have not beaten Last of Us or Uncharted 4, and now I own both of them. So
Yep. Both good
we'll
games.
see.
Get through
I
those.
think my Naughty Dog love needs to be shown.
Yep.
Otherwise, yeah, that's gonna do it. I think.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me on this wonderful edition of Controllers and Keyboards, Ryan Power.
Indeed, it was a good time.
Was a good time.
Kyle's gonna keep playing Yakuza,
That I am.
and
I'm
Ryan is gonna keep playing 10-Second Ninja
yeah. Oh,
and other
really?
things.
The
But
thing that
yeah,
you're never going to stop playing 10 Second Ninja, Ryan. But from all of us here at Pajodcast Media, you stay classy, San Diego.